You know what it is? Winning time. I'm in my prime. Hey, it took time for me to find my path and settle in. Rocktown came from mud and sediment. Encourage all my brothers to be better men. Elements of excellence, now we flourishing. Deep development.
DJ T-Mac back here for another great hip-hop conversation, and you know who we got here in the building today. We back here at Blue Pan in Golden, and we got my man Rose, Mr. Don't Play in the building. What's up, Rose?
Yo, fresh off a good show at the High Dive, man. A birthday this week on July 4th. I'm riding a high right now, man. I'm feeling amazing.
It's been a great week for you, it sounds like, and a perfect time to have this conversation. So I'm glad we could set this up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me, man.
Yes. So I want to start this conversation sort of where the last one maybe ended, right? So we recorded that in December of 22. All right, came out the top of last year, but it's been about a year and a half since that conversation.
Man.
Since that point, a lot has happened, man. Albums, shows, collaborations, connecting with, a label over in Europe, man. A whole lot. Can you describe what this past year and a half has been like for you?
I think this past year, man, has just been more growth, more of me settling into my artistry. Like when I first talked to you, I dropped my first project to the world in, I think 2021. Like I moved out here, that's when I started doing live shows. Put out my first album, like with an instrumental album, The Dawn, like in 2021. Yep. So, I mean, we weren't that far removed from the beginning. You know what I mean? I still feel like that. I'm still hungry, but the year and a half difference has been, a big difference, man.
A lot, man.
I think 3 projects since then. 3 projects.
Messenger Who Shot Back.
Yep.
Right? Rose on Sunday. Now we got DOROTHY.
Yep, got DOROTHY. I'll break the news here. Exclusive TMac interview exclusive.
You know why you're
here? Me and Burroughs, producer here in Denver, amazing producer. We got an album or project coming called Mo Green Less Blues. We're hoping to drop that in August. So we're just working on getting the cover art finished.
Ooh, in August, next month, man.
Next
birthday
month.
gift to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday to my man Rose. Y'all let him know in the comments. Give him a follow. Salute all that. Let's get another cheers. Man, so let's talk a little bit about the High Dive Bar, right? That just happened a few days ago. That show, not the first show there.
No.
Right? So how did this recent one come together?
Yeah, I think so when I was talking to the talent booker, right? So I did the show, my first show at High Dive and Underground Music Showcase 2023. You were the DJ, of course, for that. And that was an amazing show, man.
That was a great day.
First time ever having a room packed like that. But just to set that, preface that, have played the High Dive once for the festival. And so the talent buyer, she remembered that performance. She really rocked with it. And so she emailed me from my website, just emailed me, was like, yo, I've been meaning to reach out to you. The show last year at the festival was great. Do you want to put together your own show this summer? And this was April when we were talking.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah. So I was thankful that they reached out to me. I feel like, it's a grind. I'm not waiting on anything to come to me. I'm always reaching out and trying to get, in the inbox of a talent buyer or whoever I need to talk to. So it felt good for them to reach out to me and, recognize what I'm doing. So
awesome, bro.
Yeah, man.
And quite a lineup you put together, man. Yourself, Dante M's and John D, and also D-Trait, man. Solid 3.
Yep.
And it was a fun show to be at, man. It was a lot of fun to just be there in the crowd, be rocking out.
Yep.
Any particular reason why you chose these guys and, decided to go with that lineup?
I feel like both of them, John D, Dante, and D-Trait, they all deserve even more spotlight. And when I got a platform, or I feel like the High Dive is a solid venue. It's one of the best independent venues in Denver. And I was just thinking in my mind, yo, these cats, if I could have 10 acts on the bill, I would. Because there's even more people that I would love to show love to. But Dante and Johnny, we've done a lot of work together. We have a lot of collaborations. And I feel like those two especially need more eyes on them, especially in Denver. I know they work out of the Springs a lot. And they do a lot of work in Denver. But I just feel like as many new ears they can get, I want to help contribute to that because I feel like, they're going places, man.
Colorado lineup, man. It's a solid one. That's a good one that you put together there. And like I said, it was a lot of fun to be at. So, hey, stay on the lookout for the next show Rose's putting together, man. The lineup's going to be fire.
Yep.
But it was we'll call it a birthday show, right? It was a birthday celebration. You had some family in the building. Like, what was it like to have the crowd that you had there?
Man, so I had so many different zip codes, area codes in the building, man. My mom flying in from Little Rock, Arkansas. My dad from Memphis, 901. And then I had my uncle coming out from Gary, Indiana. And he flew in. And, I went out to birthday dinner, and my shout out to my lady, Sarah. She held down the secret. I had no idea my folks, well, I knew my mom was coming out. So my lady and my mom, we went out to dinner, and I had my uncle and his partner, they were waiting at the table. And then later that night, we get back to the crib. My pops knocks on the door late at night. I'm like, man, who is knocking on my door, man? And my pops I'm just like, what is going on?
Wow,
so
that's a good surprise, dude.
Yeah, that's how
cool.
my birthday went. So, and then we went into the show the next day. So I was, needless to say, just amped up
on
the
a
whole
high,
week,
man.
Yeah.
Hey, he was DJing that night. He was hosting. He was headlining the bill. Great performance, man. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Hey, man, so let's talk about the reason why we're here. The new album, Dorothy, been out for a few weeks now, or a couple months. Man, it's a great project, fully produced by yourself. Dorothy, this album is dedicated to your grandmother. Tell me a little bit about the backstory and how this all came to be.
Yeah, so it was Christmas 2023. So I just went home for Christmas break back to Little Rock, Arkansas in 2023. And my grandmother, every time I'm home, me and my mom, we pull out the photos, we exchange stories. It's very therapeutic for us, you know that. Losing my grandma in 2013, it was a big blow, to the family. Just our family unit, it was like us three, for sure, like very, very close. So that was a big blow, and we definitely represented to the fullest. So in the midst of us exchanging stories, going through photo albums, my grandma also left a big crate of records, and she was a big music head, and just like how we download the newest album, she would have the newest album on vinyl. Teddy Pendergrass, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, all the groups, you know what I mean?
A music head when it took some work to be one.
Exactly. So in the midst of me just going through those records, I also, that Christmas, bought my mom a record player because she didn't have one, and I was like, this would be another way you can connect with my grandma. If you ever want to just put on a record, you could just sit back and connect, and it's a special gift. So I bought her a record player, but I was up all night using that because I was going through the record player at Christmas, and I was like, man, I want to do something for my grandma, and I want to put together a project. And it was just a loose idea at that point, but I just said, hey, I just started digging through the records and just gathering sounds, gathering records, and I started producing, and I brought that energy, I brought a lot of the sounds I captured back to Denver, and that was the basis of Dorothy, why it started,
Wow. What were some of those like emotions or experiences like going through the records and trying to look for those samples? Can you break that down? Give me a little bit more insight about like, was that almost like a therapeutic like process for you?
It was. So, normally I think like on a production tip, like trying to work fast, you know what I mean? Like, let me listen to as many records as possible and work fast and like move on to the next. But I was really sitting and just listening to these records front and back and like really admiring like the state of each record. Like some, man, were super warped, some were like a lot of snap, crackle, pop on them, you know what I mean? But just really, before I even started producing, just like really sitting and listening to these records and thinking, man, what was my grandma, like kick back, having friends over, just having fun, listening to these records. So just really sitting back with them and listening first. And the first beat I made was Foolish.
Okay.
The first beat I made was Foolish, and I just sat with the record, and I started chopping it up. But I say it was very therapeutic for me, though, man. Just putting myself in her shoes, and it's like a generational heirloom. Me and my mom are gonna keep these records in the family, and next generation to have these records, and it's gonna be even doper, for next generation to see.
I'm sure you were familiar with a lot of the records. Did you discover like some new artists and songs? Like, what was like the percentage that you knew to what was new to you?
A lot was new to me.
What you were familiar with and what was new to you.
And so I've always I might not be musically trained in a lot of ways, but I've always had a unique ear, and like to the point where if I'm out shopping with my mom and I'm just hearing some music they got like playing at the supermarket, I'll be like, yo, that's a sample. Like I'll know like what hip hop song. I'll be like, yo, that's a sample. So as I'm going through the record, I'm hearing like I was listening to I think Evelyn Champagne King, and I heard the sample Ice Cube used for "This Is How We Do It," and I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Wow!" I'm just like learning some music history, as we're going through it too. So it was educational for me. I made sure to do my homework too on what I was listening to. That's the best part about vinyl too, is looking at the liner notes, reading all of that, taking it all in. So it was really a labor of love for me, man. I really did my homework, and that's why this project, I feel like, came out so warm and just rich, because her sound selection was dope. She's the executive producer. She's the executive producer, because this is her selection. This is what she, was listening to, and so I had to always give her praise. Like, she'll always be attached to this project, so way to keep her alive.
Executive produced by Dorothy, man. That's awesome.
It is.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man. So you brought up "Foolish." That was the first single off the album. You have a video for that features DNA Picasso. Talk about that track, man. Was there something that was on your mind or an experience that you went through to write that record? Or is that just the beat and, tell me how that one came about.
So I think there's a lot of different ways you can, like, choose to write records, even make beats. Like, sometimes if you're, flipping samples, sometimes you allow the sample, whatever's being said to... You don't necessarily, if you sample a love song, have to make a LL Cool J love rap song, but there might be a line in there or a word that inspires that. And so for me, the actual line that was being sampled and I was like really locked in on was just "foolish of me," and I just started thinking of how I could just start really expounding on that idea or that concept. So for this record, I let the sample kind of lead me.
Okay.
Sometimes I might chop a sample that's unrecognizable and I'm doing something totally different. But with like a lot of samples on this project, it's almost like I'm letting ancestors lead me, or I'm just letting these samples of these records, really lead me where I'm going.
Lead you in the direction.
Lead me, not go against the grain, not try to, I'm a listener first, and that's where it led me. So I just started off in my notepad with just "Foolish of Me," and then just kind of expound on how can I don't know, take that and put a flip on it,
Yeah, it was great for you to play off the sample in the way that you did, man. It fits very well. You talked about slowing down your production process for this one. Was your writing process changed at all for this one? Was it also slowed down a little bit, or did it sounds like you really tried to play off the records and the samples a little bit more, maybe that made it a little easier? Talk about that.
Yeah, I think my writing process also, like, I could have really rushed. So I started, producing the record, the entire album. I think the beginnings of it, like I said, in Christmas of 2023. I really wanted to get this out to the world. I think I dropped it in May 12th on Mother's Day, 2024. I honestly would have liked to have got it out in March, but I didn't rush myself. I would have liked to put it out in February because I was so excited about the music I was making. I was like, I think people are going to love this. But I'm glad I didn't rush it, and I allowed myself that time. So I did, slow down on the overall creative process. I wasn't in a rush. I was like, when the world is ready to hear it, and when I have, I had features in mind. A lot of my earlier projects don't have as many features, and so I wanted to change that as well.
I was going to touch on that, man. I was going to bring that up. 4 features on this project, most of any project that you have so far.
Yep, and that was a goal of mine coming in 2024, was to collaborate more.
Okay.
I have such a deep artist community around me, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm including that in the project, because we have a huge ecosystem,
out here it's crazy.
And I was like, I got to get it on wax though, because we're always, around each other, but I wanted to make sure to collaborate more.
Talk about, talking about collaborating a little more. You have quite a few records with the Lonely Boys that are out. I'm sure more that are even in the cut. But talk about working with those guys a little bit more, man. Great producer, MC duo, or trio really at points. You guys put a lot of fun records out. You fit really well, and you really mesh with their style. So talk about working with them.
Yeah, I mean, just working with John D, Dante, J Matt, Barris, all the Lonely Boys, man. They're like just a art house, man. Like,
the whole squad. Shout out.
They all have a vision on what they want, but it's really cool. I think just on we connect on a deeper level as people. I feel like also in our subject matter in our songs, it's definitely, we could talk, fly stuff. We could definitely talk about how ill we are, but there's definitely a element of realness to Dante's raps, J Matt's raps. It's this down to earth. It's grounded. You know, it will ground you with a listen. So I feel like I fit in perfectly. You know, I hear what they say, and I'm like, oh, what are y'all on, or what are y'all talking about? And I try to contribute that. So working with them is easy.
Yeah.
So I'm used to like making the beat, you know, really trying to come up with the concept and do that. John D's always cooking up. This dude's always in the kitchen and always got some fly sounds coming out of the studio. So when I come in, that's one less hat I gotta wear, you know. And I feel like creating in a vacuum alone is it can after a while be harder to continue to challenge yourself, come up with new things. But when you're around other creatives doing amazing things, I feel like it inspires me, you know. I love to see them succeed, and as a competitor too, you know, I'm like, yo, I won't ever slouch on a verse, but definitely not around them, you know what I mean? You got to bring it.
Cannot sleep.
Nah. So.
All right, bro, let's bring it back to Dorothy a little bit. Very sample-heavy project. We talked about that. Some of my favorites, man, Pyro. I think you know that. Every time that one comes on, I told you about that one. That's one of my favorites. Foolish, Rocktown, Sideline Stories, all really great ones. For features, we talked about all the features on this project. So I have a couple quotes here that might relate to a sort of subtle theme that's going on through the album, all right? I'm going to live forever off the dues I paid. And also, legend in the making, you're going to read about me. You're going to read about the rest when I'm gone. So obviously this album is dedicated to your grandmother who's passed, R.I.P. But is death almost a underlying theme through the album a little bit, or at least on those couple tracks? For sure. I feel like mortality, you know, and we're not here forever, you know, so the work we're doing here has extra meaning, you know, and like we have good days, we have bad days, but just realizing and like this album is approaching death in a different way. It's not necessarily sorrowful or it is mournful in some ways. Like I feel like the most mournful track and what I would like have is like me getting up to speak in a eulogy. You know, my grandma's eulogy would be the intro. Like I miss you. That's the most direct, like phone call to the skies, like type of track. You know, it's just that is most sorrowful. But the rest is death is a range of emotions and not just sadness. You know, it's like taking inspiration from that, like, and celebrating the life of that person, not just, you know, it's all about sadness, because it's not. You know, she was very vivacious, very full of life. Everybody who knew her knew that. So transferring that same energy. And me and my mom have real conversations. We don't shy away from, you know, death or mortality at all. You know, like, my mom is very upfront with me about like, hey, you know, when I'm gone, these are things that, you know, I'd like to see, or these are things that I'm trying to build or set up for you, and hope that you can do the same for your kids. So I've been taught to think about the end as well as what you're doing now, and not think that, oh, you have every day to plan out. Like, think about this stuff, you know, it can really guide your life too. So mortality is a huge part. Yeah, interesting, man. Just to go back to the features real quick, 4 features, is there anyone that you want the listeners to maybe focus in on a little bit more? All really great features, very well placed. Album is sequenced great. Like I said, I love where they're all placed. Any particular verse that like sticks out to you? I mean, honestly, all of them deserve to shine, and you know, obviously, I'll make sure to give them a shine. But Discern, I feel like Discern is on the track No Limit. She's an amazing MC, has a really strong sense of purpose and like who she is. And you know, one of the things that when we were making the No Limit song, you know, I think I had like a little profanity. I don't curse too much in my songs, but you know, just for emphasis, I put a little spice, little Tonys on that. But yeah, like, you know, one of her things is like, hey, I don't, you know, make profanity or use profanity in my music, and collabing with her, I'm like, yo, I respect that, and let me rewrite this into something more dope and more creative. Like, yeah, I could have used just a curse word, but I'm like, yo, I'll flip this line and make it more creative. And so I think when I worked with each artist, it was bringing them into my world, but also respecting, you know, who they are as folk, as people. Them in their world a little bit too. Exactly. So it's funny, we were making that song, I was like, oh yeah, like no problem. She was like, wow, you know, like I didn't know how you're gonna take that. And I'm like, believe me, when it comes to the creative process or any type of constructive criticism or what's important to you, I'll honor that. So that was, she had a really dope verse, and I really enjoy her music. She's got a strong sense of self, and watch out for her. She's also going to be performing at UMS this year. So, okay. We'll have to stay on the lookout for that, man, for sure.
Yep.
Also features on here, we talked about DNA Picasso on the song Foolish. Awesome video out now. Go check that. Maybe we got a link popping up right here, man. Go check that out. Who else we got on here? Wayne Watt.
Yeah, so Wayne Watts is somebody that, he's such a connector, I feel like, in Denver, and does a lot. So he has a organization called Dream, Create, Inspire. He does songwriting workshops for all ages. And I've been a part of, I'm kind of a staple in these workshops now, and just trying to definitely be a part of a lot more of that movement. But songwriting workshops will come and take over a space. People can come in, we'll ground ourselves and all share words on how we're feeling, what's the emotions of the day. I'll play beats and we'll decide how we're feeling, and we'll all make a song collectively, creatively, with input. And by the end of a 2 or 3 hour workshop, we have a song and we're performing it, and he's walking around conducting it like, hey, your part, you go verse, you go verse. We have singers there, we have MCs there. I'll put some beats on, or we have other producers too, but Wayne is incredibly ill, MC and connector too. Yeah.
Featured on Rocktown, man. I love that track. Talking about the hometown.
Man, 501, Little Rock, Rocktown. I felt like a hometown victory lap. Like that song feels very triumphant, and the way the sample is and the beat, so it just felt good, man.
And we can't get off the feature conversation without bringing up my man J-Matt on Sideline Stories, one of the Lonely Boys. Shout out, man. That's a great track, man. Great one.
J-Matt, let me tell you about this. So J-Matt is a monster, man. So I had him in mind for this song, 'cause I was like, yo, just the vibe, what I'm talking about, sports references. So I know J-Matt in our conversations, he was pretty deep into college football. He was a athlete and whatnot. And I was like, yo, I got a sports theme, sports metaphor, sports title. It's inspirational. I'm like, yo, he can really fit this theme, and I know he can just fit that mold. And so I hit J-Matt up. I shared the beat. He sent me the verse back, I think, same day. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, so just J-Matt is no joke. And so we just made some time for like the next weekend or the following week. We laid it down and it was done, Wow. So he works fast. J-Matt is incredible. Lonely Boy representative, yep. Fellow wolf. So yeah, J-Matt, shout out to you, man.
Shout out, man. All right, before we continue on, anything else you want to leave the people with about Dorothy? Out now on all platforms. We got the Foolish video out now. Anything else you want to let them know?
Yeah, man, I just want to say, like, this album is something I'll continue to push. I'm learning, as we were saying, like, slowing down with the creative process. Also, when you put a project out, slowing down on moving to the next thing. So I got more videos for that. I'm also planning to invest in physicals for Dorothy as well. So be on the lookout for that. We're not done pushing this. It's for life.
Be on the lookout.
It's for life.
Yep, be on the lookout. Tell the people where they can connect with you now, real quick.
Right now, you can connect with me, Rose. Instagram is really the main social media handle. So that's ROZZAY, don't play. ROZZAY, don't play.
Yep. All right, let's talk about 2023 a little bit, man. So a couple albums released that year, which was last year. Messengers Who Shot Back. Another album fully produced by yourself. Talk about how that one sort of came together. You definitely bring a great bounce and bop to your production. I really like how you flip samples. People definitely should go back and listen to that. One of my favorite projects of yours. I mean, talk about that project and why you decided to fully produce that one and put that collection of songs out.
Yeah, so I think when that album came out in July of 2023, at that point I was maybe a year into having my SP404, sampler and beat making machine, and so I've always dabbled in production, either through like FL Studio or Logic, but I didn't feel as close to the process as I did when I finally got that machine where it's more analog and I'm touching the buttons and I'm chopping these samples, and I don't know, it's just separated from the digital world. I'm just like very consumed in what I'm doing. And so when I put out Message Who Shot Back, it was a statement, honestly, of me doing my first fully produced project that I'm rapping on. So I put out a beat album, The Dawn, in 2021, but up until that point, I haven't put out an album where I was producing the tracks or I produced the whole album. So it's really letting people know and flexing my, production, muscles too.
Quick,
it's like, you should know me for this. I want to be known for as a great MC, but also a producer as well. Yeah. And I like those dual talented MCs like Cole and Big Crit, and there's so many more. But yeah.
something I have written here is like, are there any rapper producers that you maybe sort of model yourself after? I guess those two guys are probably top of the list. Or if something, a little twist to the question is, if there was a combination of just somebody who raps and just somebody who produces, who you think you are, or you're trying to like match, what would that combination be?
Someone who just raps and okay. So I'm making a Frankenstein hybrid right now. Okay, all right. I like customization. Create your player.
Come on.
All right. I mean, honestly, I think like Kendrick and Alchemist in one person would be really dope. Just very socially aware. Also knows how to have fun. Alchemist on the level of not allowing like one decade or one style to define him production wise. Like I can do the 90s flip just as good as anybody, but I've been around this long because I'm adaptable.
Yeah.
And I just feel like those two MCs are multifaceted, man, and they touch on every aspect of life, and that's what I hope to do, because it's not all one thing all the time.
Yeah. So I like that combo, man. Alchemist just did an interview on the Dr. Green Thumb show with B Real of Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
That was a really good interview. Gave some insight into his career and talking about, working in the different decades and spanning his career. So definitely go check that one out. That's a fun one to listen to.
Yeah.
All right, Messenger Who Shot Back, man. I Am Him, talking about making that statement, man. That's one of my favorites. Best Not Miss, coming at the king. Best Not Miss, man. Keep Me Alive. You have a lot of positive messaging throughout this album. Also, Ben Worthy, Imposter Syndrome, very relatable tracks myself. You mentioned Big Crit and J. Cole. Those are artists that, have a similar vibe that I really connect to. So, man, I really connect with this project.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the headspace, I try to remain in, is just gratefulness. It helps the positivity flow easier. It's just like, realizing that, I'm not promised to wake up and open my eyes in the morning. I'm not promised to draw a breath for my next breath. I feel like when you break it down to appreciating those simple things, then you can, the other things you might be dealing with in life, they'll affect you, but you can manage them a little bit easier. But I also, the song Imposter Syndrome is on Messenger Shot Back, and that was one song that I people really love and I feel gravitate towards when I do it live.
You make a point to perform that one every time.
I do,
right?
And I feel like, you mentioned the positivity on this album. I mean, as much as I'm telling other people, I'm telling myself too. And the song Imposter Syndrome is about, overcoming doubt and like, am I really deserving of this? Am I really that guy? And I feel like as much as I'm talking to everybody else, I'm talking to myself as well in a lot of these tracks, like looking in the mirror, if you will, so.
And that's why the people connect with it, man. So just keep doing that. Keep doing it, man.
I'm trying.
You're doing it, bro. Let's talk about another album that dropped last year, Rose on Sunday. Fully produced by my man, Gloomy Sunday. Shout out Gloomy.
Shout out to
Gloomy. Hey, we'll give a cheers to Gloomy real quick. Come on. Talk about sort of how this one came together. It sounds like you're trying to work with more producers out here. You mentioned an album with Burroughs coming out.
Yep.
So talk about how this one with Gloomy came together.
So me and Gloomy have always crossed paths in the Denver hip hop scene, especially going to the Mutiny Cyphers, Beats Bodega. We're always around, and a lot of the same MCs that we know are producers. Like, it's just kind of almost a Wu-Tang thing, just like a loose collective. Like, there's just so many names, and so. I think it's just a product of actually going to Gloomy's crib. He invited me over, just like, hey, how about you just come over and, witness the cook up or just listen to what I have, and maybe we can, put together a project and do some songs. So really it was just more so like, hey, let's do some songs. And then he sent me home with like 8 to 10 tracks, and I'm like, hey, I like all 8 of these, all 10 of these. I'm gonna start writing to them. Let's start fine-tuning and setting up studio sessions. And so he sent me home with a pack after listening to it at the crib. And so I would just continue through the winter, going over Gloomy's crib, writing, checking in with him. And I think by the time, it got done writing, we had 8 tracks, and we were starting to really flesh out the idea of, okay, Rose on Sundays. Shout out to my man Clever Schemes.
Shout out Clever on the cover art.
Yeah, it gave us the cover art. And I felt like this was, at the time, and I still feel like it. I mean, it's one of the best projects I have in my catalog, and especially at the time, I feel like it was the best composed body of work that I had. And I was like, yo, we can't just slap a Microsoft Paint cover on this, man. We gotta work with somebody who understands the culture for the cover art, invest in that, flesh out our vision, and So I felt like that project was really well received, and shout out to Gloomy, man.
I love that one, man. Got a few features on there as well. One of my favorites, Dead End Kids, featuring Hash.
Yeah, shout out
Salute
to
to Hash, another person who's been in conversation with TMac, man. Sit and Reminisce, Wishes, all these tracks. They're like, yo, some of my favorites, man. Do you have a favorite off this album? Looking back, now that you had like some time to, for it to be out there, what's the one that keeps coming back to you?
I think Wishes is definitely a really fun track. Man, it just feels lavish, man. I love the production on Wishes, and I loved just kind of where I was able to take it, flow wise, just bars, just kind of getting off, lyrically on it. Love in My Heart is also one I feel is like just really, I don't know, the production, man, puts me in a certain space. Paradise, I guess I'm gonna name the whole project, but those three that I named so far, Wishes, Love in My Heart, and Paradise, I don't know, they definitely sit with me, and of course every other track, but those for sure. Yeah.
All right, I got a quote off this one, man. This one, I really like just the flow of it and how it all comes together. This is towards the end of the track too. I forget exactly which one. Open floor plan. Plenty of room to digress. Process next steps. Digest my stress. Unpack my bag. Learn to live with less. A clean bill of health. That's a real rich flex.
Yes.
That was a tongue twister. I should have practiced that one a few more times. But man, talk about sort of that quote there and what you're talking about. I think you're talking about imagining being in the mansion, right? That's right before this comes out. So imagine being in the mansion, open floor plan, and then we get into this. So talk about sort of your mindset and laying that down.
Yeah, I think when I say open floor plan, that is one angle, like imagining yourself in places, in a different place than where you are. I feel like if any successful person can't just be bound to what they see in their immediate surroundings. You have to be able to project yourself into places you're not even in yet before you even get there. That's one. But also creating enough space for you to process things, man. If you don't do that work with yourself, nobody's gonna give you that. If you're always the one to help other people, but you don't create space for yourself to process things, everybody's gonna think that you always got the time to help them and not unpack your own stuff. You know what I mean? You have to let people know and be transparent, but make that space for yourself and create boundaries and stuff. So that's one thing. And I also think I'm trying to think of the rest of the line. Like a clean bill of health, that's a real rich flex.
It's a real rich flex.
Regardless of what your possessions are, I never knew of any supremely rich person that could fit all their riches into a coffin. Like at the end of the day, you come into the world alone. Essentially, you're gonna go out away. You're not, doesn't matter what you pack into your tomb or your room. I don't know too much about what happens after we're gone, but I feel that whatever you had on this earthly plane, you're not going to be taking it. You're not going to be taking it with you. So focus on some deeper things that have a little bit more meaning. And I also feel that this artist life, we make a lot of sacrifices, and you have to. Sometimes if I wasn't doing music, I could be putting all this stuff, all the money that I'm investing in myself with music and all the time. I could be doing other things. I could just be living more leisurely, and just, I don't know, just.
Imagine Rose not making music, man. What would you be spending your money on if you're not making music, man? What kind of stuff would you be doing?
I feel like a lot more travel, but I sacrifice that because I know that having a career in this and continuing to develop myself, I'll be able to travel and work at the same time. You know what I mean? When I establish myself. So I'm like, okay, I'll sacrifice certain possession things for now. I'll sacrifice, maybe less trips than I would like to take, or just experiences, because I'll get those, but I'll also be able to blend my lifestyle with my work. That's what I'm trying to create. So
I love it, man. I love that. So guys, go check out those 3 albums that we just gave a good breakdown of: Dorothy, Rose on Sunday, and The Messenger Who Shot Back. All very solid projects. Sit with them. Give them the proper time to digest, because he talks about a lot, and the features talk about a lot. So, man, go check those 3 albums out, and hey, support Rose.
Come on, man.
We got a lot more coming this year. So we talked about album with Burroughs, possibly next month dropping.
Yep.
Might be out by the time this comes out, or right around the same time. So that'll be fun. Like I said, birthday project for myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Blanco, I'm looking for another album. He always drops in August, so thank you, Blanco. Looking for another one coming soon.
Shout out Blanco.
What else could we be looking for in 2024 from Rose?
Honestly, my mindset and where I'm at, I'm like, okay, it's the middle of the year, and I already got 2 albums that I'm definitely going to drop this year. I want to do 2 more. I want to do 2 more this year. And I just feel like I'm always producing, I'm always writing, so I don't want to limit myself either. I maybe, instead of doing a lot of full lengths, maybe just drop more, even smaller, collections of where I'm at and keep it moving. So I think just experiment with how I drop music and how I release that. Maybe more singles, more one-offs instead of feeling like I have to wait months before I can put stuff out. So I think just maybe a couple more projects, and honestly more singles, more collaborations.
Love it, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So
all right, I think we got some food in.
All right.
So
let's go.
Let's make a little room here.
Hey. What?
Move this up. Let's move this up here to the front.
Come on.
All right, y'all. We got Rose's order here. Rose's go-to here at Blue Pan Pizza is our New York style Boone's Meaty.
Yeah.
So you know what time it is, man.
It.
Let's go. Let's get into it.
Come on.
Here's a plate.
Appreciate that.
Man, take your slice. Got a little serving thing right here, man. Get at it.
Let's break bread.
Thank you for the service schemes. Thank you for the service.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna get a little bit. We don't have the Boones too often here, but man, this is a good one. This is a good one. Got a little parm, got a little red pepper here. Come on. How's that sitting, man? How's that hitting real?
Heavenly. I left the restaurant and I've ascended. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
That's some good stuff right there, man.
Yeah.
Even on my day off, we here and we still having some pizza, man. Clean bill of health. That's a real rich flex. That's why we going to the gym a lot more now.
Yeah.
We staying on top of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, look at this. Look at the air pockets here in the crust. This is high quality. We are known for our Detroit style pizza, but New York is the go-to for rosé.
Yeah, that is the go-to for me. I love by the slice pizza joints. Love a good New York slice. That's my favorite slice of pizza. But shout out to T-Mac. When I first met him, a little bit after he moved here, he was telling me, I worked for Blue Pan. They got Detroit style, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to be open-minded. I know what Chicago style is like. It's a little too soupy, too saucy for me. But I tried the Detroit style, and I have to admit, that Detroit style is very good.
That was on the food truck. That was on the food truck when we had it the first time.
Yeah.
Over in Rhino.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. Yeah, so Blue Pan, we got 3 locations. Also got a food truck. Many different styles of pizza, man. Come on out, see your boy. Your boy works over here in Golden. Catch me in the kitchen 5 days a week doing my thing. Serving up that good, man. Come and support. Come and check it out. Maybe you get a free app while you're here. You never know. You never know. Tell them DJ T-Mac sent you.
This man recruiting. Come on in. Yo, so this pizza. Rosé, me personally, New York slice, once again, is my go-to. I like by the slice pizza joints. Blue Pan is really up there. This is called the Boone, right?
Boone's Meaty right here, yep.
Okay, the Boone's like take everything you got in the fridge and throw it on there in terms of meat, man, and that's what you got, man. The Boone. Yep. I love it.
Some fire right here. New York style. Like I said, we got all different styles of pizza. New York style hits. It's I'm speechless, man. I'm speechless with my own product here. But shout out to the owners. Thank you guys for letting us do this over here at Blue Pan again. We got Rose, Mr. Don't Play in the building. New York style Boone's Meaty. And my favorite is the San Marzano pesto chicken. Ooh. I always like the pesto chicken. That's my go-to. Pesto chicken, cherry tomatoes, feta. Got some red sauce on there too, man. Cannot beat it.
Yo.
Cannot beat it.
T-Mac is a cultured individual. You hear me, man? T-Mac is a cultured individual. This dude's always has got some good food cooking up, whether at the crib or at Blue Pan, man.
You know it.
TMac is
it.
culture, like when it comes.
You know it. You know it. All right, Rose, as we're sort of wrapping up the conversation here, coming towards the end, let's talk about UMS a little bit. Me and you tore it down last year, and you're on the festival again. So tell the people when and where they can see you this year.
Most definitely. So shout out to you, TMac. That was a legendary show in 2023. This year, I'm back at it again. I'm grateful to have been chosen again for UMS. I'll be playing Saturday, July 27, 8 p.m. at the Hornet. So the difference between last year and this year, as good as last year's show was, this show is going to have a different flair. I'm trying to bring out a live band. So we'll have someone on the keys. We'll have someone on the guitar. We'll have someone on drums, bass. Like, this is going to be a fully fleshed out production. And I'm going to just tell you this. You're going to hear my catalog in a way that you've never heard it before. One night only.
One night only, y'all. Y'all heard it here first. Saturday, July 27th at the Hornet.
Yep, at the Hornet.
Request off right now. You got just enough time, okay? I'm going to send this out. And, yeah, man, that's going to be a great show to be at. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the other, just one more show that I had coming up, August 9th, rooftop of the MCA Museum. That's a summertime series that they have, and I'll be excited to play that as well. But UMS and MCA shows.
Awesome, man. Everybody go follow and support Rose. We got links down below for anything you need. Hit his YouTube channel up. Check out those videos. Support the latest one, Foolish, featuring DNA Picasso. He's got more videos coming out, more on the way. And, I'm always going to be tapped in and tuned in, man.
Come on. Shout out to my boy TMac. Appreciate it. Support the channel.
Rose, thank you for coming through one time. This is Conversation with TMac. We out.
Look, got off the bench, told coach put me in, caught my own number. I've been ballin' ever since. 32 next summer, rookie year, Blake Griff. You end up on a post if you try to stop the kid. You end up on a post if you stepping in my lane. You chirping from the sidelines, you know we ain't the same. I'm the man in the arena and I'm handing out subpoenas. Tell them